now the moment we've all been waiting for, Matt Mueller's 2 minutes.
Awesome. I was listening to a podcast. It was like a Sandler sales training podcast that had me chuckling a little bit because they were talking about how basically all the problems in our sales is our parents' fault. So it was nice to alleviate that guilt off of my back and put it solely on my parents because I've never blamed them for anything. And what they were talking about is, and you know, us parents, I think we're learning this more and more, is that a lot of what we learn as children, we pull over into our adult lives. Specifically, they were talking about 3 things that we were taught as children that really kind of make the sales process difficult. One is that as children, we were taught to not talk to strangers, and here we are calling. You know, if you're me, you're calling 2-3 people a day, and that are strangers. If you're Engel, that's 1,000 or 1,200 a day. We're also taught that it's rude to interrupt, right? And the first thing that we're doing is interrupt. If we're not interrupting somebody's conference call, we're interrupting their cup of coffee or their lunch, and that always got me a good laugh. And the third thing that they touched on is that it's if asked a question that we're supposed to answer, and that it's rude not to answer a question. And this one wanted to unpack in a little bit more specificity because I thought it was really applicable in a couple of ways. One is that as I was thinking about it, I was finding myself in judging how often when I am asked questions, how it's kind of an immediate response, right? And there's a couple of ways, without unpacking a lot of what they were talking about, but to just touch on the general concept, is that as experts, oftentimes, in a traditional sales cycle, we're asked a question and then we answer it, and then we throw up with all the values and benefits and resources we provide. And then we come up for air 12, 13, 14 minutes later, and we're done with our presentation. And their concept is that as experts, we should be asking the questions and unpacking and understanding what the client's needs are. So as opposed to responding or reacting to the questions, to really come up with strategies in where we're asking questions to lead the client to their point, that they're understanding what it is that they want to do. And that client may or may not be a good fit for us, and that's all right. I also thought it was really interesting in that it helps to, if you take that idea that if we're asked a question, that we tend to answer it. Anybody that we react with, our spouses, our clients, also they also have the same construct, right? So if they're asked a question, by and large, they've been taught to answer that question immediately. And so from a negotiation standpoint or controlling the conversation standpoint, it can be a very useful tool. Real easy example is when a lender calls you after you send them a pitch book and they're asking, what's the rate we're looking for. Instead of turning around and pitching them the deal, we can simply control the conversation by asking, well, where are you guys starting? And if you're having a bad conversation with somebody, to help reset the conversation, you can come up with a series of questions, or even one question, just to buy yourself a little bit of time and reposition or pivot that conversation. So that was a quick summary of things that we're taught as children that we pull into our sales lives from that podcast.
Thanks, man. That was great.
That was outstanding. Love that.